If you've ever needed a sign to quit your 9 to 5 job, this is it, and I'm going to tell you why. This is heavily inspired by Once Fated's video called I Can't Work a 9 to 5. He basically just talks about doing work that doesn't fulfill you is very stupid long term, how these big corporations don't actually care about you, they'll replace you in days if they needed to, etc., etc. It was honestly a really damn good video, and that's the main inspiration for this. It sparked a lot of gears in my head, and I highly, highly recommend you go check that out right after this video. I'll link it down below. But I just want to go back to January of 2022, and this is when I quit my 9 to 5. And I just want to talk about the feeling and break down everything. We had basically been merged within another company after my old boss had kind of semi-retired. He wasn't really interested in running the company anymore. He made a lot of money. It was great for him. And we had worked or was going to potentially work with our biggest customer at the time. So myself and another manager, he shifted off to that job. I was sitting there negotiating and kind of on shaky grounds with what was going to be my new boss. He didn't know I had leverage and had been working on a side consulting business in the background. But him and I got into very deep kind of conversations and talks. And on a Tuesday, I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday night, him and I were on the phone for over an hour. And it wasn't going in either of our directions. And he just goes, "You know what, man? I could resign this entire contract and you could basically have nothing. You could have no offer, no salary, nothing, and just leave. Would you prefer that?" And just being an absolute prick, right? Just rubbing it all in. There was a very awkward 10-second pause where neither of us just said anything. Mainly because I was processing what the hell just was happening. And I was like, I have one of two options here right now. My immature and petty side says either drill right back into him and say, "Motherfucker, you have no idea. I have 12 grand in monthly revenue coming in at the end of this month for my consulting business. Do you think I need this lowball offer? Do you think I need this new job that you're thinking is on some super high horse and you're just drinking your own Kool-Aid?" I obviously didn't say that as much as I wanted to. I was 23 years old at the time. As much as I wanted to, I'm very glad I didn't, looking back at it. Instead, I played right into his game. And this is a piece of advice that I have for anyone who wants to play a little bit of office politics to get that next leg up. I highly recommend you do it. And I said, "You know what, man? You're right. Let's move forward." Had him sent the contract over. I never signed it, and I never planned on signing it. And we always had these end of week meetings, right? End of week on a Friday meetings. And he goes, "Let's meet. Let's do our normal thing. I just wanted to, bump the contract." And this, remember, our first conversation happened on Wednesday. 2 days passed, and I hadn't sent anything back. And I just go, "You know what, man? It's been great, potentially working with you. Things have been going well through the other corporation, but with this new offer, I have no interest. This is my official decline and/or, quitting, if you will. I'm resigning. I'm not interested in working with you, and we'll take it from there." And he was so stunned. He was extremely taken back, and it was honestly kind of satisfying, but it was really interesting. At the end of the call, when we all hung up, I had never felt more satisfied before in my entire life. And looking back, it's been the absolute best risk I've ever taken, ever, in my 26 years, still to this day. And you know what? It was almost like an instinctual switch. It was a Friday night, and as soon as I opened the door, the girl that I was living with at the time, I was just sitting there saying, "I fucking did it. I'm out." And she just hugged me. She's like, "Let's go. Like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you." And I knew the healthy pressure that I felt. It was almost like a drug high. It was almost freeing in the sense of like, I have full capability to do whatever the fuck I want, work and go super hard on this consulting business, and I have to make this work. There's no going back. And I'm going to talk about my kind of advice in a second, but my dad is the one who pushed me and said, "Dude, what's the worst that happens, right? Best case, you have this huge upside opportunity within your own business now. You've been talking about this for years. There's no better timing to do it. You've got some savings to last if absolutely all shit hits the fan. Or worst case, you say, 'Hey guys, I fucked up. Things didn't go my way. Can I have my job back?' Or you just go find another sales job because you've got the skill set. What is the literal worst that can happen?" And I remember being super emotional at the time, and that was the call that basically set my decision. And listen, full disclaimer, 9 to 5s are incredible. I actually recommend them for skill stacking, to earning to learn, basically, if you're in the right one. Obviously, if you're in some warehouse job, then, come on, there's not much to do there in terms of growth. But if you're in some startup, if you're in the tech world, like, you know what I'm talking about here. The rooms I was able to get into because of just the people I knew, and more importantly, being able to make mistakes on other people's behalf, was insane. When you're working for a company, when you're responsible for a mistake, quote unquote, it's not really your responsibility. Sure, you may hear a little bit of it, but the main brunt of it is going to these guys, right? And you may be told or whatever, get a little bit of a chew up from your boss, but at the end of the day, the company takes all that risk, and the CEO is the one who's used to getting bitched at. Trust me, I'm not shitting on 9 to 5s, right? I have employees. I absolutely 100% need employees to run my businesses, but I knew personally, for me, I wanted more. I wanted more risk. I wanted all the upside, knowing there was also this huge downside that if I fucked up, I was going to pay for it. But, luckily it didn't go that way, and my risk paid off. And of course, again, take this with a grain of salt. If you're backed up in bills, you have a ton of debt, like, obviously do what you need to do, right? And I'm going to have a very near future videos coming out talking about this, that just, do what you can, how not to live paycheck to paycheck, what to invest, all these types of things. But guys, like, 2025 is right around the corner, and it's fucking time. We have tens of thousands of people making tons of money, multi-six figures with like TikTok Shop, for example, or agency service businesses, or just being a content creator in general. People that are no smarter than you or me making fuckloads of money. And I'm sitting there scratching my head being like, some of these kids are making more money than I am. And it's like, it pisses me off, but it's enough to be like, no, like, I can do this too. There's more than enough market share for everyone. And there's so much opportunity that you just need a small, tiny, tiny sliver of. So if you're working that warehouse job or the job you just hate, it's time that if you absolutely need to, burn those fucking bridges. Put some pressure on yourself. Quit that job and start your own damn thing. Build your own security. Build your own wealth and equity in something that you own and you have control of, so you can take care of your family and ultimately have true freedom. You have no idea how good it feels to be able to do whatever the hell I want when I want. And I want you to experience this for yourself. Everyone is entitled to that if they want it, and everyone should if they want to. Again, I'm going to have tons more videos coming out like this in the future, but I needed to get this point across that now is the time. So if you've made it this far, as always, I want you to win. Subscribe if you're new and or if you enjoyed the video, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.